Hello, everyone. This is the Celestial Storyteller, the channel that combines astrology and storytelling. Today, we are looking at the astro drama of March, specifically the following week. Before we do, here's the little disclaimer. This is the overall energy of the month, the week. This does not include how it affects your chart based on what of your natal planets the transiting planets are hitting. This may affect your experience of these transits. Let's dive into the energy of the month first. On the whole, March isn't as dramatic as February. It gives some positive opportunities and a little bit more ease. There are a lot of trines and sextiles going on, especially trines to benefic Jupiter, which does increase our luck and wisdom a little bit. I see some forward momentum going on during this time, especially towards the end of the month, because Jupiter and Mercury are going direct. However, I don't think it will be super clear where we are heading during this time based on the previous month. There will be a lunar eclipse, which might lead to some faded culminations, and not too long after, a Mercury Cazimi, which will elevate a retrograde Mercury, bringing focus to re-evaluating our thoughts. All in all, the energy isn't as bombastic as in February, but we are still in the aftermath of the eclipses, so who knows what will happen? After this quick overview, let's get into the astro drama. Mars, the god of strife, makes his way into the misty shores of Pisces. In the mystical fog, Mars' actions become murky. His drive, once clear, flows like water rolling in on the Piscean shore. Gently, the warrior god glides forward, not to battle or break, but to connect deeply with the images the fog offers him. These images guide his actions, whether they are true or mere figments of his imagination. On the 2nd, March enters Pisces. During this time, our actions will turn from the progressive and even rebellious nature Mars has acquired in Aquarius to something much gentler. Pisces is the sign connected with a far reaching compassion and empathy. There, Mars will feel like the entire universe is one, and so it does not want to hurt anyone if he doesn't have to, unless there is a higher cause for which he can sacrifice himself. This isn't the same idealistic vision of Aquarius, but an emotional cause. But the fog of Pisces isn't always clear, and it might dilute our actions. If we are not careful, the good cause might turn out to be a mere figment of our imagination. Right now is a good time for action that doesn't serve us, but is much more compassionate and giving in nature. We might channel our energies into something more creative, like painting or anything else that gets us more into the streamscape. More inward action, like meditation, might also be helpful. Going with the flow rather than grinding against what is happening is a good idea. To see what area of your life needs this kind of action most, look at the Pisces house of your chart. As the lunar goddess wanders through the archive of Virgo, a shadow falls upon her face. She disappears in the shadow of earth, home of mortals, as the king of gods blazes his light from the misty shores of Pisces at the opposite end of the realm. Hidden away in the archive, she takes stock on what she has achieved and decides it is time for a private celebration. On the 3rd, there is a lunar eclipse in Virgo. This is a very different eclipse from that of the last month. Lunar eclipses are about fated culminations, and this one happens in Virgo close to the South Node, which is all about the past. The Virgo Pisces eclipse cycle has been going on for a while. There has been a lunar eclipse in Virgo in March 2025. So, looking back at what culminated during that time might give indications about this eclipse cycle. There has also been a solar eclipse in Virgo in September 2025, and looking at what you have started during this time might give further clues as to what may culminate now. Virgo is all about analyzing the details so that information can be used in the best way possible. This is a very practical energy. It is about the concrete information that helps us and others better our lives in tangible ways. Like the lunar goddess analyzing past achievements in the story, we might have a breakthrough of information, an aha moment about our past, especially about what we might have to let go of. And because it is in Virgo, we might just have to let go of overanalyzing everything. Because Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, is still retrograde in Pisces, this eclipse may have an especially reflective and intuitive energy to it. This will not be the typical Virgo eclipse, all about analyzing with our rational mind. Instead of pinpointing exactly what we need to let go of with painstaking accuracy, we may simply have a strong inkling about what the future holds. The discrepancy between the past and a vision of our future fate may cause us to relinquish old habits and move towards something more destined later on. The information we receive may not be concrete information, but prophetic in nature, something beyond the grasp of physical reality, the simple intuitive knowledge that this isn't the way for us anymore. Since Mercury is in Pisces, it may even be prompted by a dream. To check where this is taking place, look at your Virgo and Pisces house. The Virgo house will show the area of life where you need to let go of something. The Pisces house will show the area of life that supplies you with a vision for the future. On her way through the misty shore of Pisces, Venus, the goddess of desire, makes an offer to Uranus, the god of chaos. The dreamy fog on Pisces oceans got her imagination flowing, of a paradise unlike any other, made manifest in her eternal garden. Now the god of chaos has her blessings. Guided by her visions, he is to rework her home. So when she arrives in the future, the garden of her dreams may not glide through her fingers like mist, but be physically tangible. On the 4th, Venus in Pisces sextiles Uranus in Taurus. Last month, we had a Venus Uranus square, which brought tension between our personal desires and radical change for the sake of liberation. Now, the sextile is an opportunity to align our desires and values with an idealistic vision that can grant us greater freedom. Sextiles aren't especially active aspects, they need to be utilized by us to work their magic. To know how to make use of this transit, think about what desires root you in the ground and keep you from acting freely. Think about how you can reform your values and seed some new trees instead. To see what area of life your vision of a more free life comes from, look at your Pisces house. To see what area of life may be affected by your idealized desires and where the actual change for the sake of liberation is taking place in, look at your Taurus house. This is the last sextile before Venus will make a conjunction to Uranus in Taurus later this year. So, this is really about throwing out old things that no longer serve you, a radical overhaul of your eternal garden to achieve your personal paradise. On his way through the misty shores of Pisces, the Sun, king of all gods, collaborates with Jupiter, the god of wisdom, from his place in the crescent cradle of Cancer. The king god saw his future self in a vision, and now consults the sage god for his boundless insights. Under Jupiter's counsel, the sun god comes to understand his origin, learns what once made him comfortable, and what parts of him he has to embrace to move into a more comfortable skin. On the 5th, the Sun in Pisces trines Jupiter in Cancer. During this time, we may receive wisdom about what identity we would feel most comfortable in. This wisdom may come from our actual origins, our home or our mother, but more likely, home is a symbolic place, the place where we feel truly nurtured and taken care of. This wisdom is now illuminated, so we may align our future selves with it, the dream version of ourselves. It is the latter trine in the Sun Jupiter cycle, so this might be about reaping rewards in some way. With Jupiter retrograde, this reward might simply be the internal awareness of what makes us comfortable. At this time, you may reflect how you have changed since the beginning of the Sun Jupiter cycle in June 2025. See how far you have come, how you have grown and expanded who you are, and how you have grown more comfortable in your own skin. Venus, the goddess of desire, enters the volcanic wilds of Aries, that gruesome place with rivers of lava that tarnish the realm's appearance. The goddess doesn't like it here. It is too loud, too brute, too ugly. How in this wasteland should she work her powers? And yet the land's energy, that forceful power, grabs her. This land may seem harsh, but she will get what she desires, no matter the difficulties ahead. On the 6th, Venus enters Aries. Venus is in detriment in Aries, meaning she doesn't really have what she needs to bring about harmony and beauty and to attract what we desire in a peaceful and relaxed way. During this time, we may be more aggressive about our desires. I want is Aries' motto after all, and in that vein, we may not just sit about until what we desire comes our way. We will go after it with full force. The detriment is a counterintuitive placement. Opposed energies meet here. Desires must be achieved through strife and conflict, not harmony and tranquility. Beauty must be created through subtraction, not addition. It's a fuzzy little bunny going murderous for a yummy little carrot. You can look at your Aries house to see what area of life will be stirred into action by your desires. Sometimes it is the desires of others we now clash against. Everyone wants their own now. We may have to be more forceful about what we want. Not murderous, funny, forceful, but we can't expect things to just come our way. Someone else may snag it instead if we do not get active. Wandering backward through the fog of Pisces' misty shores, Mercury, the messenger god, stumbles upon the sun, the king of gods, in his golden chariot, beaming light through the Piscean haze. The king god greets him with fondness, and offers him a seat at the front of the chariot. So once it may not be the king that is admired, but the messenger god himself. Here he can sit back, rest his feet until he has to move on. Here he may dream in the mists of Pisces, letting his imagination flow. Here he may recount the visions manifesting before him in the mist, and for this he will be celebrated. On the 7th, Mercury retrograde meets the Sun for a retrograde Cazimi. A Cazimi elevates a planet's qualities. The planet is celebrated. This is a very interesting Cazimi. Usually, Mercury is rational and analytical, but today this isn't what he is celebrated for. In Pisces, it will be his unbound imagination, his spirituality, creativity, and compassion that will be marveled at. Moreover, because he is retrograde, his ability to relive the foggy visions of Pisces, to slip into old dreams. The information that is now elevated in our lives isn't rational, it's mystical. Consider past dreams, childhood fantasies, and old paracosms, and what insights they have to offer. They may not be steeped in reality, but they may offer the emotional knowledge you need at the time. Venus, the goddess of desire, meets Neptune, the goddess of illusion, in the volcanic wilds of Aries. Together they look at the land ahead, the lava streams and bestial forests. The goddess of desire confides in the goddess of illusion, for she has boundless empathy. Venus reveals her paradise that has manifested in the mists of Pisces, the one in which all her desires come true, and the goddess of illusion encourages her to dream. But this isn't the misty shore any more. This is treacherous reality. With their paradise in place, the goddesses must move forward to conquer the real world and make their united vision come true against all obstacles. On the 7th, Venus meets Neptune in Aries. Venus is all about what we desire, what we seek to attract in our life, because it will make it more beautiful, while Neptune is all about dreams, no matter if that dream can be achieved or not. Now the two planets band together. They combine desires and dreams into a grand vision, the ultimate desire that can happen in one's wildest dreams only. They meet in Aries, the sign in which we must boldly prove our own identity by conquering the challenges ahead and collecting the prize. In Aries, Venus and Neptune won't be satisfied by dreaming. They will want to make it happen. At the beginning of any cycle, it is unclear what will happen, but with Saturn still close by, this is a time to jump into the adventure and see what treasures can be collected in reality and which desires must remain dreams. Mars, the ruler of Aries, is still in Pisces, and taking modern rulership into account, Neptune and Mars are in each other's realm. Neptune will be much more active in living out her dreams through the adventures ahead, while Mars is motivated by an idealized future. To see where your dreams and desires must be conquered through initiation, take a look at your Aries house. On her way through the volcanic wilds of Aries, Venus, goddess of desire, meets Saturn, the stern faced god of structure. As they stand together, Saturn observes the perils of Aries. No stable structure has ever been erected here, no castle to protect from its wild beasts. Here, Saturn says to Venus, you will not find what you desire. Here, no grand vision may come true. Let dreams be dreams, for nothing fruitful can grow here. Venus smiles at him. It may be true, she says, that not all dreams may come to fruition, but by just stepping towards my desires, I will know what can be. Saturn bows his head to the goddess. Be careful then, he says, picking flowers in the forests, for its wild beasts are ready to tear you apart. If you must venture into this realm, better tread lightly. On the 8th, Venus conjuncts Saturn in Aries. Usually I would put this into next week's video, but this is a continuation of what is going on the 7th, so we are going to talk about it in this video. This energy might be intermixed with the energy of the day before because Neptune is close by. Venus and Saturn aren't isolated from Neptune's influence. The dreamy Neptune energy will still be present. Over the course of those 2 days, it might look a little bit like Venus being swept up between Neptune's dreamland and Saturn's realism. But let's get into Venus and Saturn's interaction for a bit. Saturn tries to bring us to the ground, to look objectively at what can be achieved. He wants to protect us from hurt by limiting our hopes and dreams, our desires. Like in the story, Saturn is there to remind us that not all dreams may be fulfilled. But Saturn is in Aries, the sign of its fall. Saturn suspects that things can't happen, but he doesn't know for sure this time around. In Aries, rules aren't yet established, and Saturn is working off old paradigms. In Aries, reality's limits must be tested through initiation, by just jumping into the adventure. This creates a stop and go energy. Saturn urges for caution. Aries inevitably forces us into action. We must see what desires can be fulfilled and which ones must be abandoned against the obstacles in front of us. We now have a vision about our desires because of Venus and Neptune, but we also have an awareness that reality doesn't allow all desires. In Aries, we are also aware that destiny favors the bold, that things, though not all, can be gained through taking action. Our Neptunian Venusian paradise may not come to be, but we can work towards it and at least bring some of it into reality. It is Saturn telling Venus that not all can be ours, but Neptune telling Venus that we must dream nonetheless. It's us moving into the Saturn Neptune cycle of aligning dreams and reality. And for the first time, it interacts with our values and desires. It is unclear what will be. We must allow Venus and Neptune to guide us toward our desired vision, then hand it over to Saturn and let him build what can be built. At this time, we are formulating the dream, and we are wondering what can be made reality based on old rules. But in Aries, the limitations have to be tested again. They will be different this time around. New things may be possible now. This could be quite frustrating because we just don't yet know what lies ahead. What will be the challenges and limitations? Right now, reality is just speculation, just fantasy, because Neptune clouds Saturn's judgment. Right now, we can envision what we want, but all we can know for sure is that some things may come true and others won't. What they may be must be tested. Mars, the ruler of Aries, still traverses the magical dreamland of Pisces, so our motivations may yet be ungrounded in the new cycle. They are still just intuitive visions. Mars will instigate the new cycle only when it has moved into Aries. But when it does, we might see better what things can and can't be achieved, where our own bravery brushes against the limits of reality, and where Saturn's musings were right all along. But for now, all we can do is speculate. All we can do is embrace newness to see what area of life will ask you to balance your desires under the influence of dreams and reality. Look at your Aries house. This is it for today's video. As always, be sure to give suggestions for improvement or tell me what you would like me to focus on in future videos. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video or leave a comment to let me know how the astro drama has impacted you.